Evening, everyone. It's about 6:15, and this is your closing comment. It's video number 410 on this lovely Thursday afternoon. And in case you missed it, it was a pretty tough day. We started with the initial and continuing claims, both of which were better. Q2 productivity was up, unit labor costs were down. But the problem number was the trade balance, which came in at 63.6 billion, and it was expected to be about 58.5. And the difference between imports and exports was literally a shade over 2-to-1 in favor of imports. That is definitely something that weakens the dollar. It is not particularly good for the economy, and it's a problem. It's the same problem that we have with all of the other deficits that we run. So the Dow started down, but the big problem was not the Dow or the S&P, but rather NASDAQ. Excuse me. The chart on the screen shows you just how extreme this move was in the NASDAQ today. We literally closed down about 600. We were down a little more. The Dow was down 807 or 2.8% after being down at the worst 1025. But this move in the NASDAQ was almost double the move in the Dow. So it was about 5%. The S&P didn't do a lot better. It was not as bad as the NASDAQ, but worse than the Dow, down 125.78 or 3.5%. And the Russell was down 47.61, 3%. And the transports were down 282 or just under 2.5%. All of the S&P sectors were down. The least bad was energy because it's perceived that there's some value there. And to give you an example of value versus growth today, the Russell value was down 2.1%, while the Russell growth was down 5%. In the Dow, we had 28 stocks down and 2 up. And between the two of them, there was not a dollar's worth of gain in the Dow. American Express 20 cents and Verizon 66 cents. But as far as the biggest losers in the Dow, we were well represented by all of those new names. The worst was Microsoft, taking away 94 Dow points. We had Home Depot taking away 82. Salesforce CRM down 78. Apple down 69. AMGN, also a new one, down 67. And Boeing was down 40 Dow points. I'm not going to go through all of the prices for everything. I'll just give you a brief rundown here. We had Google down 90, Amazon down 186, Apple down 1189, Facebook down 15, Tesla down 54, and the Boeing, as I mentioned, was down $6 in the stock, but that translates into 40 Dow points. And CMG Chipotle was down 62. We did have some earnings today, and both of these stocks beat. PVH, which is the old Phillips Van Heusen, and is things like, I believe, Jeffrey Bean and a couple of others. It had a beat on both revenues and earnings. It traded up to 65, but sold off and finished 61.45, and that was up $1.94 or 3.2%. Campbell's Pork and Beans was also a beat, both top and bottom line, and did not give poor guidance at all, and yet the stock opened around 52, traded all the way down to 47.80, and in fact closed 48.53, down 392 or 7.5%. And that was with good numbers. A little one that I gave you this morning, Akiba, AKBA. This is the one that unfortunately had poor phase 3 results in their anemia blood. It closed $10 yesterday. When we were talking this morning, it was trading $2.95, down 70% or 705. It didn't end up much better. It actually ended up at 265, down over 73%, down 735 or 73.5%. Okay, so the chart here on the screen is, as you can see, horrendous. This is not really all that unusual. I mean, I don't mean to say that down 600 in the NASDAQ is not unusual, but pullbacks like this are not unusual. When you get a counter trend move, very often they are very short and very sharp. So I'm actually looking for this to be lower tomorrow. But the fact of the matter is, if you look at this and you see where we are, we're just back to where we were a little over a week ago, which is really not much of a pullback, which is also one of the reasons that I think it's not over. The other thing is that tomorrow is a Friday before a 3-day weekend. And there are a lot of people who like to even up, and certainly anybody who is a day trader or a very short-term swing trader probably is not going to want to go home with long positions over the 3-day weekend. So let's go and look at a couple of other charts here. The oil was down again, not terribly, but down nonetheless. The whole energy complex was lower, as you can see here. Let me make this a little larger for you. As you can see, we had yesterday's break to the downside and today's follow through. But we did close closer up here towards the high, and we're really about unchanged here, down 20 cents at 41.18. The gold had kind of a quiet day, all things considered. And we had the big down day yesterday. We came a little lower today, didn't close down much, down just under $7. And right now we're basically unchanged, down 40 cents. I really don't want to see us roll through these lows in the 1920, 1918 area. I think we kind of need to hold that in order to keep this intact. In the short term, in the long term, I think it's going higher anyway. The lumber that I have shown you a couple of times was again limit down $29. And so this has basically come from $8.59 to $6.70 now in a matter of 8 trading days, less than 2 weeks of trading. Bitcoin was down sharply. The dollar didn't really do very much today. It was down a dime, and it traded both sides of unchanged. But the bonds were up. They're down a little right now, maybe about a third of a dollar. But the fact is that when the market sells off like this, you tend to get what is called a flight to safety, where people want to do something with the money, and the safest thing they can think of to do is to buy government bonds. Okay, everyone. I hope you had an okay day. We actually have a bear spread on in the QQQs. It cost us about $1.20. I believe it closed around $1.90. And if we do get another down day tomorrow, that will improve. The gold did not hurt us much today. We also have a bull spread there, as we do in Alibaba. Alibaba was down pretty substantially, I think about 14 or so, but our spread is still more than 15 in the money. So that $5 spread is just sitting there. Not a seller of it, and the expirations on all of these trades are not for 2 weeks from tomorrow. All right, everyone, don't forget to subscribe if you like the work, and I'll be back first thing in the morning.